Hello everyone and welcome back to the OlympusCraft SMP. We are here in the new area for Jank, which is looking a bit different from where we left it last time. If I kind of rotate a bit, you can kind of see where it all kind of comes apart. But I've been working really hard trying to finish off this area for our new, I don't want to say mini game, this is definitely not a mini game, a mega game, we'll call it a mega game. And in today's episode we're going to be doing a bit of work on planning our big game. There's a bit of stuff I want to kind of go through about what this game is going to look like, and there's a bit of a chance for you guys to also give some input on how you think the game should look. But also I want to start working on a tiny bit of the redstone for this game. There's a system I need to create which I think I've got in my head, but I'm not entirely sure it's going to work. And it's the internet. I'm creating the internet in Minecraft, and I'll explain exactly what that means later on in this episode. Now, I think it's time to kind of talk about what the plans are with Jank. What are we going to do? What's it going to look like at the end? And how can you help me design it? In Jank 1.0, or just Jank as it was known back then, we had 10 different levels, each one with their own individual theme. There wasn't really a unifying theme. I kind of wanted to do some very different kind of environments, but I also was trying to kind of experiment with different kinds of gameplay. I didn't want it to just be every level is kind of a variation of the same thing. I had an explosion level where you had to use creepers to unlock certain doors. I had an underwater level where you had to swim around. And for this project here, Jank 2.0, I want to take that to the extreme. I'm going to do a number of levels, each of which is going to be very different from one another, but also they're all going to follow the same theme. So, big reveal. What's the theme of Jank 2.0? The theme of Jank 2.0 is game over. Okay. What do I mean by game over? Each level in Jank is going to be based on established gaming franchises. And we're going to try and adapt all the mechanics from those games into Minecraft using just redstone. I should also point out, in case you didn't see anything from Jank, the first iteration, this is all done in survival. This is all done in, well, vanilla plus Minecraft. All the redstone is completely vanilla. I do kind of use the mods on the server to collect resources. I've got the ring to fly around, which makes it a bit easier to place blocks. But everything you see within this big cube and beyond, that's all vanilla. That's entirely vanilla, and all the mechanics are going to be vanilla. So I have a list of potential games that I think we're going to be using for Jank 2.0, but there's still some spots that I think I would like you guys to suggest so I can fill. So games that we're going to be doing for Jank 2.0, I definitely want to do a Pac-Man game. I would also like to do Space Invaders. This is actually something that was recommended by my friend Max, so shout out to him because I think it's going to be a fantastic idea. But also we're going to go for some more modern games. We're going to do Skyrim for sure, and the other ones, I had a few other ones. I had Super Mario. You know, a lot of these are quite retro games, but it's not just going to be retro games. And then we're going to do, and this is what I'm really excited about, Call of Duty Zombies. Which is a game that I played quite a lot. Okay, it doesn't fit there, but you know what I mean, Zomb. I also want to do kind of a version of Bejeweled, which is that, it's the mobile game where you can try to match 3. It's not going to be match 3, but I have an idea of how this works. And because Jank is meant to be very cooperative, this one's a level that I think is going to be all based on cooperation between players. So yes, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6 games potentially ready to be designed. Now there are going to be, I think, 9 levels in Jank 2.0, but that means that there are 3 spots left for more games that we can add to Jank 2.0. So the first thing I want you to do today is to comment underneath if there's a game that you think would be pretty cool to see in Jank 2.0. Or alternatively, if you even have an idea of how the mechanics could be translated into Minecraft, let me know. We can see what works. Each of these games has a specific feel and mechanic that I think I'm going to try and really work off. So every level should feel incredibly different from one another. For example, if we look at Pac-Man. I do want to make some kind of maze, but the main thing I want to do is I want to bring some ghosts into the mix. Obviously Pac-Man is running away from ghosts, and I think adding in some ghosts chasing the players is going to be really fun. For Super Mario, I really want to make a 2D game or a 2D level. So again, I kind of have an idea how to do this. It's almost like you literally have one strip that you have to kind of parkour in between. Space Invaders, we're going to have some TNT dupers dropping TNT on players while they're running around trying to complete missions. And the one I'm really excited about is the Call of Duty Zombies, which I'm sure a lot of people have played before, but I'm going to have a whole load of zombies running around the map. And the idea is that you need to actually kill the zombies to collect the rotten flesh to unlock armor and weapons and other gear that you can then use to complete the level. And in typical Call of Duty zombie style, there's going to be quite complicated puzzles that people need to unlock in order to progress through that level. But then the question is, why 9 levels? And the reason for 9 levels is very specific. You see this area here, right? This is the same size as Jank 1 was, a bit bigger actually. The sides of this cube are rectangle, is it? It's a rectangle. The sides of this rectangle are wider than Jank 1, but we are not just going to be using this overworld area. We are going to be using the Nether and the End. We're going to be using 3 times the space. Jank 2.0 is going to be 3 times the size of Jank 1, and I believe that it's going to be the biggest project, at least the biggest redstone project that anyone has ever done in Minecraft. Correct me if I'm wrong, there probably is somebody else who's done something more incredible, but it's definitely bigger than Decked Out, it's definitely bigger than Jank 1, it's going to be big. But yeah, this entire space here is going to be a single level of Jank, and there's going to be 9 of these. But the main reason why I chose this particular chunk is that floating thing here, which is our lovely end portal. Because if we're going to be playing with 3 different dimensions, we need to be able to connect these dimensions up. So we obviously need the player to be able to go from one dimension to the next, but there's something else we need to do, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today, because we need to have a system where the computer in the overworld communicates with the computer in the Nether, and then they both communicate with the computer in the End. Every single item in Jank that players discover is put into a sorting system, and based on the type of item, certain lines of redstone get triggered. It's like an off and on switch. You know, if you put in an iron ingot, for example, that may activate a line which opens a certain door. Using these sorting systems and these redstone lines is kind of like a computer where you're sending messages across the system and you're getting outputs based on whichever messages you're sending down. Now, the tricky part, and I'm sure I've lost a lot of viewers by now, but so thank you for sticking around. So the problem I have is that I've got a nice big sorting system here, let's say, which deals with all the inputs and outputs that have to do with the levels in the overworld. But let's say a player's put all their items into a shulker box, into the system, in the overworld. How does the Nether know that those items have been put in? How do we send a signal to the Nether to confirm that those items are part of the game? And to make matters a bit more complicated, sometimes it's good to kind of trigger lines that have nothing to do with the items in Jank. So for example, last season I had this detection system where once you left a certain level, it would deactivate that level, so it wouldn't have any random drops happening, and it would activate the level you currently entered. So how do we know when the players entered or exited the level when they have just entered or exited a portal? So the way to connect the overworld to the Nether is through Nether portals. I'm sure everyone has played Minecraft has used the Nether portal before. You step into the Nether portal, you get taken to the Nether. We have this portal, which is great, but we need several portals. So there's two things that are going to be happening when we play the game. One thing is that the player needs to enter the game and exit the game. And because the nether is a different dimension, they need to enter the nether and exit the nether. Now, because levels are done sequentially, it makes sense that they need to be able to access the nether at a different point from where they exit the nether, if that makes sense. So there'll be a portal here, and then there'll be a portal at the very, very, very bottom of the nether. But the problem is we then need two more portals. We need one where the information for the nether needs to enter from the overworld, and then we need another portal where that information is going to exit. But the problem is, in the nether, every block here is representative of 8 blocks in the overworld. So while in the overworld we have over 100 blocks between the portals, in the nether that will be 20 blocks or so. So I need to test to see if having the portals that close is going to cause it to give me incorrect pairings between portals. I think this is working properly. We've got the 4 portals on each of the sides, and if we enter, say, this portal here, the netherrack one, coming out of the netherrack portal, and say we want to go to the tough portal, we exit with the tough portal. And then let's go over there. Here is our pink portal. It works perfectly well. And then finally our ice portal. You can see how close they are in the nether. But this takes us to the ice. Cool. So we got portal to enter the nether, portal to exit the nether, portal to send information to the nether, portal to receive information from the nether. There is another small detail, which is that we do need then the nether to be loaded at all times. But there is a vanilla way to do that, and that is to have multiple accounts. So we got those kind of working. That's great. Now, the issue comes to that, and if we enter this portal, we're transported to this lovely platform in the end. We've got this exit where if we step into it, it will take us to our spawn point, which in this case is the bottom of Jank. So for player movement, it's not that tricky. The problem is we also need to send information from the overworld into the end. If we say drop some items, say we drop a stack of tough, that will appear on the other side, won't it? So if we go through, yeah, we picked up some tough. So that's pretty good. What happens if I drop some items here? Okay, it didn't go here, it just kind of disappeared. It's here in spawn. I don't think we can change the position of spawn just for Jank. That may be a bit of an ask. I wonder if we could have a system where once the players have finished all the levels in the end, once they get to this point, they will be given a shulker box from the game that they then have to put into a hopper on the other side. I mean, there is ways around it, basically. I just need to have a bit of a think of how that works. But the thing I want to do is to kind of start working a bit on these systems. So yeah, so something like this. So let's say we've got some items coming in. We've got, you know, a rail and a stone button and a piece of paper. And these are items that need to go to the nether to activate whatever lines they activate. Then we could send a signal here, which gives us a minecart to a chest, and that has picked up the items from the hopper. Does that do anything? Yes, that sends it off. And then those items now have reached the nether. Yeah, here it is. And they can be picked up by hoppers in this end and be put into the system this end. But it doesn't have to be just junk items, because what I could do here is, instead of putting in, you know, random items, it could be a piece of paper called activate level. That could be the piece of paper's name, and then when I send that over, that can be picked up, and yeah, there you go, it could be picked up by a hopper underneath here, and that could trigger off some other line that, you know, then activates the next level. So presumably this works in much the same way. So minecart goes in, and on the other side, so remember this will be loaded. Okay, it does get picked up. Okay, and then look, it's on the rail, and that can be powered rail, and I could send it off and can go and do other stuff. And we can stop this water flow when players need to enter the end themselves. Yeah, okay, this is good. We can actually communicate between the 3 worlds. So I think next on the agenda is to finish off this big hole, kind of cover all the sides up, put in some levels as well, some separations between the levels. And then the next big project, and I think this is going to have to wait until next week, is to remove all of the bedrock in the nether. And that is going to be quite a job. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you have, please remember to comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.